Millions of people travel to Paris every year to look at this painting. They see the calm smile of a woman and imagine the man who painted it was a peaceful artist. But the man who created that smile kept secret notebooks written in reverse to hide his thoughts from the world. Inside those pages was a mind designing brutal weapons of mass destruction and spending his nights peeling apart human corpses. By the time Leonardo da Vinci died in 1519, a stroke had paralyzed his right hand. He spent his final days convinced he was a failure, writing that he had, quote, offended God and mankind. To understand how Leonardo died feeling like he had failed, we have to look at what happens when a hyper-fixated mind is trapped 400 years in the wrong century. In 1482, Leonardo felt suffocated in Florence. Disgraced by public scandals and out of money, he abandoned his artistic reputation and traveled to Milan to find a new master. He wrote a job application to the Duke of Milan. In the letter, he didn't pitch himself as a painter. He actively hid his artistic skills and applied strictly as a designer of weapons. He drafted concepts like this multi-barrel machine gun. He understood that a continuous rotational rhythm, firing 33 back-to-back shots, would maximize the psychological impact on the battlefield. He applied the same math to his scythe chariot. By calculating the rotational velocity of the wheels and extending the radius of the blades, he could predict the scale of destruction, noting that the metal would slice through soldiers like stalks of wheat. He was turning warfare into a calculated equation. It was a way to earn back his lost dignity by giving powerful men the tools of destruction they wanted. But this engineering mindset soon led him to look upward. He began analyzing the physical mechanics of the air, trying to determine how a human body could achieve flight. His early attempts failed because he tried to blindly copy the biological flapping of bird wings without understanding the underlying aerodynamics that make flight possible. Then he made a conceptual leap. While observing a turning screw, he realized that a rotating spiral shape could physically pull itself upward through a medium. He had discovered airlift, designing the mechanics of a helicopter centuries early. He realized the air was a physical medium, and the mechanical laws that governed his war machines also governed the flight of biological creatures. The entire universe was running on a single set of physical rules. Medical science in the 16th century was speculative. For 1,500 years, doctors relied on ancient theories, dissecting animals and believing that organs were powered by spirits. Leonardo ignored the dogma. He spent his nights in hospital basements, working by candlelight to peel back the layers of 20 human corpses. While examining a deceased 100-year-old man, he traced the blocked blood vessels leading to the heart. He identified the exact cause of natural death, discovering arteriosclerosis 300 years before modern medicine gave it a name. He also proved the medical establishment was wrong about the human spine. While others believed the spine was straight, Leonardo showed it was an engineered S-curve, functioning as a biomechanical shock absorber against gravity. But his ultimate obsession challenged the church directly. He wanted to reverse engineer the fluid dynamics of the human heart. To see the internal structure, he injected molten wax into an ox heart. Once it cooled, he peeled away the tissue to create a 3D cast of the internal chambers and valves. This diagram shows what he found. Blood doesn't move in straight lines. As it pumps, the geometry of the heart forces the blood into a spiraling vortex. This whirlpool motion pushes outward, snapping the 3-part valves shut without putting strain on the heart muscle. Leonardo showed the human body was not driven by mystical spirits. It was an engineered biomachine. It was a truth based on physical facts, and his era rejected it. The society around him began to spread rumors, dismissing his research as black magic. Eventually, the complaints reached the top, and the Pope permanently banned Leonardo from accessing hospitals. Cut off from his research, his 200-page medical encyclopedia was abandoned, leaving humanity to wait centuries to rediscover this same knowledge. He spent his final years in the court of the French king. A stroke paralyzed his right hand, ending his ability to paint. Lying in bed, he filled his notebook margins with questions, asking if he had ever actually finished anything of value. His fixation on absolute truth alienated him from his peers. He mapped out the future on paper, but it cost him the societal validation he sought in his own lifetime. It took 250 years for his notebooks to be unearthed, shocking the modern scientific community. As seen in this 3D recreation, 20th century MRI scans and supercomputers validated the vortex fluid dynamics Leonardo mapped out by hand using hot wax. Today, medical experts suggest Leonardo likely had a severe mixed cognitive phenotype, presenting symptoms of ADHD. This neurological wiring explains both his pattern recognition across different sciences and his inability to focus and finish his projects. Leonardo's notebooks are a confession of a brilliant mind fighting a war against the limitations of its own era. They show how true, premature genius often feels